Bendigamos al Altísimo, al Señor que nos crió, demos agradecimiento por los bienes nos dio.
Welcome to Jamaica. I'm Ainsley Henriquez. My Hebrew name is Abraham Ben Emmanuel HaKohen. We're going to talk today about Jewish life in Jamaica. Some call Jamaica paradise. Columbus, on his arrival during his second voyage, described it as the fairest land my eyes have ever seen. He visited again on his fourth and last voyage in 1503. Both his ships were worm-eaten, and so he beached them and lived here for 1 year. He and his crew became the island's first tourists. Jamaica has a rich and colorful history, and one in which Jews were allowed to live through and participate in. The British, with the advice of the Dutch Jews, captured the island in 1655. The horrible slave trade grew from the success of the sugarcane plantations started by these new colonists. We're here in the older section of the cemetery that is currently in use in Jamaica. This is one of 14 years of Jamaica's history. Natural disasters have taken their toll of all the Jewish edifices, the Jewish synagogues and cemeteries over these many years. The first was the great earthquake of 1692, which destroyed the synagogue which existed in Port Royal. And all that is left are some of the graves of the old cemetery used from the mid-17th century. Earthquakes such as the 1907 earthquake destroyed all that was left of the Neve Shalom synagogue in Spanish Town, which was built in the late 17th century. Jews were attracted to Jamaica not just for its religious freedoms, but also because of the economic opportunities which were offered. They started as peddlers, as artisans, as shopkeepers, and they evolved into many other professions. We are standing here at the commercial crossroads and center of the city of Kingston. Over on the one side is the parade ground, now a park, which was where the army kept order. Behind that was the market, and over behind the parish church is the top of the major commercial street that existed, and it still exists, King Street. And on this street, Jewish shopkeepers eventually were able to achieve major economic activity. I'm standing in front of Headquarters House. This is one of the few remaining 250-year-old buildings in the city of Kingston after all the various natural disasters. It became the headquarters of the legislature when the capital of Jamaica was moved from Spanish Town in 1872, and it continued until 1962 with the advent of independence. Jews participated after the removal of civil disabilities in the political process fully in Jamaica. And by the 1860s, many members of the legislature were in fact Jewish, to the extent that in 1865 the legislature actually ceased its sittings for the Yom Kippur. Jews continued to participate in public life in Jamaica right through to the present time. The first Jamaican ambassador to the United States was Sir Neville Ashenheim, a very prominent Jew, and also a member of the distinguished publishing family that was known as the de Cordovas. We also need to remember that the economic opportunities today have offered a significant role for Israeli companies. The Ashram company is involved in construction and has been for the past 30-odd years. And today, Kingston Harbor is one of the major transshipment ports of the Caribbean and the Americas, and Zim is a major player in this transshipment facility. These and other activities in irrigation and in farming have had and held and continue to hold Israeli interests in Jamaica. The Jamaican Jewish community, like Jewish communities everywhere, has paid serious attention to the education of its young people over these many years. In fact, one of my ancestors, Raphael Belinfanti, came here in 1746 as a Hebrew teacher to the Hebrew classes that were being run by the community in those years. Through the 19th century, we had Hebrew classes and a Hebrew college, and more latterly, the Jewish congregation has contributed to the establishment of the Hillel Academy, which is in fact a non-denominational facility. This has been an outstanding contribution to education in Jamaica, and in particular in Kingston.
I'm Tracy Melheda Matalan, and I'm the president of the Parent Teachers Association at Hillel Academy. At Hillel we have a high school and a prep school, and I have a daughter in the prep school. I love Hillel a lot. We've been here for about 4 years. It's a very warm and friendly environment.
I like studying math.
My name is Tiffany Matalan, and I'm in grade 7. And I like all the after-school activities and all the sports that we get to do during classes. And I like all the teachers and the different subjects that we get to do.
I like everything about the school. I like all the friends. I like how the teachers teach and how they act to us.
My name is Emma Crichton. I like the school, I'm in 7th grade, and I like the school because it has all these nice things that we can do here, and I also like the hip, cool teachers and the holidays the Jewish holidays that we get that all other schools don't get.
Shari Shalom is the only synagogue still functioning in the historic Jewish community of Jamaica. The synagogue was built after the destruction of the former synagogue on these premises in the 1907 earthquake. And we have been using the synagogue for the past 90 years. As we all know, no Jews were allowed in the Spanish New World. The sand on the floor is typical of a very limited number of the old Sephardic synagogues. This sand is to remind us of our sojourn in secrecy after the expulsion from Spain. The interior of this lovely building is, of course, traditional Sephardic design. It's because of the wonderful mahogany that exists in Jamaica. All this woodwork is mahogany. And in addition, the upstairs balconies, of course, in the old days were where the women sat. Behind me are the beautiful scrolls and their dressing of this wonderful collection of Torah that we have. This crown that we're looking at now is a particularly lovely ornamentation. Unfortunately, I'm not sure that we know who the silversmith was that created it. Tombstones depicting part of the rich heritage. This particular tombstone is of Abraham Aguilar, who died in November 1759, 73 years of age. Some of them have quite remarkable decorations, such as the cutting of the tree of life, or in this case, the plucking of the rose. This is the published prayer book of our community. We use a Gaster prayer book, but we have for years been publishing our own abridged version with the complete set of services as we practice them.
My name is Lloyd Alberga, G.A., and I've lived here all my life. I was born here. My family came from England and Portugal several hundred years ago, I should imagine. And of course, I was brought up in the synagogue, and what I do remember best of all, I should imagine, is my bar mitzvah, which was a long time ago. If I remember correctly, 1926. I've been around for quite a long time. But we as Jews in Jamaica enjoy a lot of privileges that you'll probably read about, that in other parts of the world they have problems, but thank heavens we've never had anything like that. No problems here at all. We've always been welcome.
My name is Marilyn Delivanti. This is my husband, Ronald. My mother was Henriquez. Her father was the president of the synagogue. As a child, I can remember him sitting in his president's seat, and that used to give me a great amount of joy and pride.
The name is Patrick Mudai. I am the sixth generation of a rabbi who came to Jamaica 215 years ago. His name was Emelech Mudai. It is said, written from Palestine.
My name is David Stephen Cohen Henriquez, and I've lived in this congregation, born and lived in this congregation all my life. We were asked to remember a little bit about our youth and what was special to us. And it was about the time of my bar mitzvah. The learning process which took place at that time, it was unusual, but my mother was the driving force.
My name is Audrey de Sola Pinto. I am the daughter of Sybil Delgado, who was born in Jamaica and whose great-grandfather, Moses Delgado, obtained the civic vote for Jews in Jamaica. And to commemorate this, there is a tankard in the synagogue.
Moses Delgado, in whose honor this tankard was presented on the 12th of December in 1831, was able to intercede and persuade the then British government to grant or remove all civil disabilities from the Jewish community in Jamaica. In consideration for this act, a Jewish congregation presented him with this beautiful silver tankard, which we keep as one of the most important mementos of our congregational activity to the present day.
The future, like all small communities, possibly not an encouraging one, but at the same time, a very historic one. And many people in Jamaica today have been able to recognize and connect their roots to this historic community, even if they are no longer practicing as Jews. It is our fervent hope that this community will continue for a long time to come.